Hello, Earth and Space Science folks. It's Kara Lenorovitz, and welcome back into our ninth week of our second segment. Why the sunglasses today? Well, it does happen to be a sunny day as I'm recording this. There are a couple of other reasons as well, so I'll give you an introduction to those as we continue through this presentation. The second reason for the shades is we are officially here in the start of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. And what that means is that sunlight is more directly hitting the Northern Hemisphere than it has been in a while. And in fact, this relates back to some of the things that you've been thinking about and will connect to some of the things you think about this week as well. Remember that Earth rotates on its axis, but keep in mind that that axis is tilted 23.5 degrees. So as we orbit around the sun, there are going to be times in that orbit where the sun is going to more directly hit the Northern Hemisphere or more directly hit the Southern Hemisphere, or times like happened on March 20th this year, when an equal amount of sunlight falls on both the Northern and the Southern Hemispheres, making it the spring equinox. So you can learn a little bit more about that in this week's weekly learning plan, and I encourage you to do so. The second reason that I was wearing shades a little bit earlier is one of the things that you're going to focus on this week is actually the sun itself. I do want to remind you that though sunglasses make bright sunlight a little bit more tolerable for most people's eyes, remember that you should never look directly at the sun as it can damage your eyes. Just remind you of a few weekly housekeeping things. Remember, the weekly learning plan is going to have the most comprehensive resources for the work that you're doing this week. There are definitely some great videos as well as some great websites that are linked there, and I encourage you to check those additional links out as well. We are going to resume our full synchronous sessions this week. So we will have everybody together on Thursday at our regular time, and I'm looking forward to having all of you back together as a big group. Office hours will continue this week as well, so please do reach out if you need help. Those appointment times are available on Canvas, Tuesday morning between 8:30 and 10:30, and Wednesday afternoon between 1 and 3, and I welcome you and encourage you to check those out. Also continuing to come up, Module 8, we're in the depths of it now, and you're going to continue to make progress with our solar system. I also just want to put on your radar that coming soon this week, I'm going to start to replace your missing work from previous modules with zeros. There are a couple of reasons for that. One, I want to make sure you have a clear and good representation of where you are grade-wise in class. And those missing pieces as zeros are going to give you a little bit more clarity on that. The second thing I want you to be aware of there is that even if something goes in as a zero right now, it doesn't mean that you can't go back and redo it. So it's an opportunity for you to give some attention to things that maybe you need to go back and revisit. So just know that that's going to shift a little bit in the next couple of weeks, and you should probably see a change in your grade as a result of that. So for those of you who are behind pace, just know that you'll need to pay attention to those things, and you still have opportunity to do so. All right, so what about this week? You're going to be focusing on 3 new aspects within Module 8. You started off a couple of weeks ago with this, and now we're going to continue. In the first part of this module, you are going to be working on forces in our solar system. You're going to learn about several different forces, but the key one that I really want you to focus on here is the force of gravity, or gravitational acceleration. This is an important one that you spent some time with during Module 7 as you were thinking about lunar tides. And you know that the sun and the moon both exert a gravitational pull on the water on Earth, which causes both high and low tides and spring and neap tides. We're going to expand that thinking just a little bit further to not only think about the Earth and the moon and the sun, but to think about the rest of the planets in the solar system as well. You will get some exposure to some of the math behind each of these forces. What I really want you to think about here, without getting caught up in how to do all of the calculations, is just recognize that the gravitational pull between two bodies is proportional to the mass of those two bodies divided by the distance squared. So believe it or not, you actually have a gravitational pull on Earth, and it has a gravitational pull on you. The reason the Earth's gravitational pull is a little bit more intense is because it has a much, much larger mass. The reason that the moon has a more significant pull on Earth's water, or almost equivalent pull on Earth's water to the sun, is because it is much, much closer. So when objects are a lot farther away from each other, their gravitational pull on each other becomes much smaller. Again, the reason that you're focusing on gravity here is so that you can tie it back into some of the forces that are holding the planets in the solar system together. In the next part of what you're working on in Module 8, you're going to be focusing on the physical properties of the sun. So you're going to learn more about the sun's structure, interior structure, and then how some of the sun's behaviors will actually influence conditions on Earth. You've explored this and know a lot about it already in terms of the sun influencing the seasons on Earth and influencing climate based on latitude. But here you're also going to be thinking about ways that the sun will influence what's going on in our atmosphere and our magnetosphere. So some cool new learning to do there. Then you're going to think about what's holding our entire solar system together, which is the gravitational pull of the sun. And you're going to explore some of the other objects in our solar system, both the planets, comets, and asteroids and meteors as well. And of course, on Thursday, you are going to attend class. So we're looking forward to having everybody together. We'll take a quick glance at our weekly learning plan and then a quick summary of what you're doing this week. All right, as usual, the weekly learning plan starts out with an introduction overview to the content. You will see in here that there is a short video that I strongly recommend that you watch that just gives you a little bit more perspective on why it's officially spring and why we have the seasons that we do on Earth. It has some great visuals in it to help you out with that. It's short and definitely interesting. Below that, you're going to see our learning objectives for the week, reminders about communication and pacing, and then our to-do list. So you really have 4 jobs to do this week. You're going to be exploring the forces in our solar system and doing a simulated lab here. Again, even though there's going to be some math that's presented in this part of the module, you really want to focus on the overall understanding of gravitational pull, and you're going to apply that conceptually to this simulated lab. In the next part, you're going to again be focused on the physical properties of the sun. I strongly encourage you to check out some of these additional resources. Not only do they give you a different perspective on what you're learning about in the Canvas lesson, but they have some pretty cool graphics as well. So there are a couple of short videos there, as well as a great resource if you haven't discovered it yet, called Windows to the Universe. And there's a whole section there about the sun if you want to explore a little bit further. And then you're going to learn about objects in our solar system. Again, some additional videos there just to give you some further perspective. And that same website, Windows to the Universe, has a great section on our solar system. So I encourage you to check out some of those additional resources. We'll then see each other in class on Thursday. And as usual, office hours will happen. Your upcoming work is going to be to continue to work on Module 8, and there are some new opportunities, particularly around the Governor's Institutes of Vermont, so I encourage you to check that out if you're looking for some other opportunities to engage in science. All right, so here's the quick snapshot of this week. You're going to be working on 8.02 to 8.04. You're going to be attending class this Thursday along with everybody else to do a little practice around Module 8. And please do reach out if you would like any help or you want to check in with any questions. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday, and happy spring!